It's one of those days, you guys. I'm in one of my moods and it's time to talk a little bit of doo-doo. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing a few fragrances that smell cheap. And before you guys get all worked up and come after me, I'm gonna do the little disclaimer like I have to, you know, these are fragrances that smell cheap to me, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's noses are different. Don't be offended. I'm sure it smells great on you. Wear whatever you want. All the things, all the things. But to my nose, these are the fragrances that smell cheap. Either they're too harsh, either they have absolutely no longevity, or just extremely synthetic. For various reasons, these smell cheap. And I try to keep it as objective as possible. I try to keep it to just the actual, like, there's something wrong with the scent. But they won't all be like that, and we won't all smell the same things. Maybe something that smells sharp or harsh to me, you guys won't pick up on it. For example, I'm very sensitive to ambroxan. A lot of people are not. So that's something to consider. So take this with a grain of salt. These are fragrances that smell cheap to me. Anyway, disclaimer over. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with Moschino Toy 2. The teddy bear bottle, kind of cute, also kind of cheap, a little bit questionable. I kind of like it. I bought it because I did like it. And I actually initially really liked this fragrance. I got a little mini bottle of it from Sephora, like one of those little tiny ones. I really liked it. And then I went for the full 100 ml. And what a mistake that was, because now I realize that there is quite a synthetic sharpness to this fragrance. There's apple, there's white currant, and I think it could be the note of white currant that's giving off this very sharp, sour touch. Really what I'm smelling the most is apple and that currant note. And then there's a little bit of muskiness as well, but it reminded me, when I first smelled it, it reminded me of almost like a little bit of a bubble gummy version of light blue, and I really liked it. But I don't know what happened with the scent. Perhaps they actually did use cheap ingredients, and then when it macerated, like, it didn't turn better, it actually turned worse. I just don't like this. It smells like some sort of like citrus cleaner product or an apple cleaner product. It smells like a cleaning product. It doesn't smell very good. It's not a good quality fragrance. And if I could redo that decision, I think I would just get light blue from Dolce & Gabbana, which, by the way, the Intense one actually smells very cheap to me, but I know a friend of mine really loves the Intense, and she doesn't smell that sharp, harsh, chemical scent. Like, it actually does smell like poison. Like, it smells very intense. Her husband said that it smells like poison, and I'm like, it absolutely does, because I think he smells what I smell, and all we smell is the sharp chemical smell. But a lot of people don't smell that sharp chemical smell in the light blue Intense, and a lot of people actually love it and prefer it over the original light blue. I personally, given my sensitive nose, would go for the original light blue, but I wouldn't, because I don't even like it that much. It's too popular. The other one that from Moschino that I think is quite cheap smelling is actually Toy Boy. I smelled it and I put it on my skin and it was absolutely atrocious. Like a very bad, cheap smelling rose scent. A lot of people like that one, but it is a cheap smelling fragrance, just as objectively as I could put it. Come on, Bernie, you can do it. There you go, boo-boo. Bernie had a little trouble climbing up on the bed, but he made it. He made it. He just didn't do a running start like he always does. Next cheap smelling fragrance is Dolce & Gabbana L'Impératrice. I actually used to really like the scent, and I still kind of do. It's a tart, juicy, sort of watermelon, citrusy scent. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't smell any sharpness. I know some people do smell like a cleaner type of smell. I don't, but it just doesn't smell very mature. It smells very young, and it smells like it could be like a body spray. Any body spray that you get from a drugstore really doesn't smell outstanding, and it doesn't smell like an expensive fragrance, and kind of surprising that it's a Dolce & Gabbana fragrance. Like, you would think it would be a little bit more refined, but it really just smells like a fruity body spray. Not bad. And if you can get it for 30 bucks, which it often is sold for, then it's totally worth that price. But for full retail, it's not worth it. If you can get it for 30 bucks, it is better than the average body spray, but you can't expect too much. It is just a juicy, tart, fruity fragrance. Next is Wee Splash from Juicy Couture. This one is an aquatic scent, and let's give it a quick spray here. I did wear it a few times. The opening is very harsh. It's very alcohol-y. It's very sharp. It's not enjoyable. It smells very, very cheap, like any cheap aquatic body spray. Really citrusy, kind of fresh, but like really just, it could be a room spray, like a bathroom spray. And the alcohol and the sharpness goes away, and then the fragrance is gone within the hour. There's very, very little to no performance with this fragrance, so it's definitely not worth it. There's a momentary, slight little glimpse of when it's kind of good. But even now, on the paper, it's like, I can't even smell it anymore. It's gone. It's a very, very poor performer. There's the development that's a little bit of a challenge. Just, it's cheap. It's cheaply made and it's a cheap smell, so I don't recommend that. Next is Mancera Juicy Flowers. I got a sample of this. I sprayed it one time and I will never spray it again because this is literally painful to smell. It hurts so much to even smell this. Imagine Herba Pura, but now make it way more synthetic, metallic, harsh, sharp, scratchy, like needles in your nose. That's what this smells like. There's supposed to be berries, there's supposed to be citrus. I don't smell any of that. I smell like Chernobyl just got into my nose. This is a complete disaster. It's a chemical mess. It's actually like, this one actually smells like poison. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. It smells extremely cheap because of that harshness. This is probably one of the worst chemical disasters of Mancera. So I don't even want to spray it again. I definitely don't want to spray it. The one thing that this fragrance has going for it is excellent performance, and it will not leave a surface. I accidentally got it on my countertop. What a disaster that was. Yeah, it will not leave your skin. It will not leave a surface. Really, like, not recommended. Now, unpopular opinion corner. So, sensitive ones, please fast forward. We're going to talk about Parfums de Marly. So, Parfums de Marly fans, just click ahead. Click ahead. Cassili. I have... Oh, wait. I got Delina exclusive. I got to get my Cassili. This is the wrong one. Okay, now we have Cassili. This one smells to me the cheapest of all of the Parfums de Marly fragrances. Now, we have to factor in the price point. We have to factor in the price point here, and they are quite expensive. So for that price point, this is not justified whatsoever. This actually smells like quite a cheap, poorly made, okay, not poorly made, but cheap ingredient based tropical fragrance. There's a milkiness to it. There's frangipani flower. There's plum in here. I smell what could be like a glimpse of something coconutty, but it smells very synthetic, extremely, extremely synthetic. It's not harsh or sharp. It just smells like a cheaper fragrance, not what it costs. Like, this smells like if I smelled it on somebody, I would think that they're wearing maybe a $50 fragrance, like something budget, like budget designer. Just doesn't smell like what it costs at all. And in fact, I had a chance to smell a whole bunch of Parfums de Marly when I was exploring their counter at Nordstrom. I went to visit with my friend, and she and I both were kind of like, like a lot of the men's ones were not great. And a lot of the women's ones too. Like, out of the women's collection, my favorite one is Darcy. I actually really, really like that one. But Athalia, that one's like, it falls flat. It smells pretty cheap and like a little bit dusty. Cassili's pretty bad. The performance isn't great either. I wore it on the skin. Meliora, I don't like that one either. It smells kind of like a cheap berry perfume. And the men's ones, a lot of them were extremely disappointing. So thus far, the only ones that I really like are Darcy for women. And I quite like Herod as well for men. But it's dense. It's very, very dense. I had a sample of that, and like, you can't overspray that one. And Ojan is not bad either for men. Those are the two that I really like for men, and Darcy for women. And honestly, Delina's probably one of the better ones as well from the entire collection. Otherwise, they're all kind of cheap smelling. Even the new Oriana, I was like pretty disappointed, but we're not gonna get too into that today. Okay, next is actually a cheaper fragrance, and it smells on the cheaper end. And I have a little mini of it, and it is the Dylan Turquoise for women. super cute little bottle, adorable, but the scent, I was really disappointed. I was hoping it would be a nice aquatic. I saw a note of guava. I really like guava as a fruit. However, this just felt kind of flat, quite boring. Lemony, just like any other lemony clean fragrance, really. Nothing special about this, nothing outstanding. A lemony fragrance. Like, there is no reason to buy this. There's really no reason at all to buy this. You don't need to own it. It doesn't offer anything unique. It's extremely generic, very boring, poor performer. There is nothing like sharp and offensive about it. But I will never remember this. Like, this has nothing interesting. The original Dylan Blue is a lot more interesting than this. This is a huge disappointment. The bottle is pretty. The color is very lovely as well. I wish it smelled more like it looks. It does not. It smells like a lemon. Lemon. Just lemon. Really just smells like lemon. It's a lemon. It's a lemon that smells like lemon. You know a lemon? Like a dud? That's what it is. Okay, next up is Juliet Has a Gun Vanilla Vibes. I don't like this type of vanilla. It's a salty vanilla. It's quite boring. It's woody. It reminds me a lot of Calvin Klein Reveal, which I got for $20 on the $20 shopper's rack, and it smells very similar to this. This would only be worth it if you really like a nice, like, salty vanilla sort of beach vibe, and you found it for like 60 bucks on Fragrance Buy, and that's the type of scent that you enjoy, then it would be worth it, but it is absolutely not worth it. It doesn't smell the price point that you would pay for it in Sephora. That price point to scent profile doesn't match at all. I don't like it. And it has a little bit of an underlying sort of like rubbery, latexy smell that I don't enjoy. This is just not a scent profile for me. I know I'm being a little bit too subjective on this one, but it smells like a cheaper fragrance that I owned. So the association is that it's a cheaper fragrance. It really does smell a lot like the Calvin Klein Reveal, and I'm not a fan. Okay, then we have Good Girl from Carolina Herrera. I only have the hair mist. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. It smells very messy. It just smells like a mess. It doesn't smell well made. It smells like a little bit of everything. Just kind of like if you were to walk into a boutique and all the fragrances were in the air. That's what it smells like. I've shared my dislike for Good Girl many a times, and the bottom line is it doesn't smell expensive. Honestly, it's a little bit too expensive for what it is. It smells quite cheap. Then Angel Nova. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. I'm sorry to those of you guys who really like this, but to me, it was downright offensive. I had sprayed it on myself, and I had taken it on a piece of paper home with me, and the longevity was there. It did last, but it was like just too much of everything. It was very synthetic smelling, like very synthetic berries, overpowering, and it smelled like a disaster. Like it didn't smell expensive. And it didn't smell anything like Angel. I think I struggle a lot with notes like raspberry and lychee because sometimes they can be very good, but when there's too much of them, it cheapens the fragrance. Like it just smells too fruity, too much, too synthetic, and that was the problem. But I will hand it to this fragrance. The performance is definitely there. So for people who do enjoy this scent and on whom it develops nicely, then great, because it's a performer. But on me, oh my God, what a mess, what a mess. And I'm also incredibly confused by why it's part of the Angel lineup. Also the Angel Eau Croisière, that one doesn't smell anything like Angel, but I do like that one. So we're not gonna talk about that. I'm just trying to point out the fact that a lot of Angel flankers really smell nothing like Angel, but that's a sidebar. And then another one that smells kind of like Angel is Tom Ford's Bitter Peach. That one to me smells cheap because it does not smell like the price point. It has this beautiful burst of juicy peach in the opening, but that very, very quickly fades away, and then you're basically left wearing Mugler's Angel. So you might as well just buy Mugler's Angel. The peach is very short-lived. The price point isn't justified whatsoever. I find that it is quite cheap smelling. So I think that will wrap up today's video on, I think, like women's cheap smelling fragrances. We'll leave it at that. I'm sure I can think of more, but I probably offended enough of you already. So we're gonna save the rest for another day. Maybe I'll do a cheap men's fragrances video if you guys wanna see that. Actually, no, I'm gonna backtrack. There's one last one that I wanna mention, and then that's it. The new Miss Dior, the Eau de Parfum 2021, that one smells cheap. It is completely just watered down. It's just water. Like, the performance is like zero, absolutely zero. You spray it and like 2 minutes later you can't smell it anymore. And the scent is like, what is it? Like, it's not even a Miss Dior scent. So that one's just, I think I bashed it in another video as well. I was very, very disappointed with it. It didn't smell like anything to me. It wasn't good at all. I'm shocked that this is part of the Miss Dior collection. It is extremely cheap. Just get any other Miss Dior, but not that one. So now I'm done with cheap smelling women's fragrances. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I do like to make a little bit of like playful digs at these fragrances, but essentially if you enjoy them, just wear them. Just wear them. If they don't smell cheap to you, then it doesn't matter what I'm saying. Just enjoy the fragrances that you love. Let me know which fragrances you guys think smell cheap or are not justified by the price point. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs down if you didn't. It helps my algorithm just the same. So that's it. Bye!